This program is called Weekly Edition. It is a program produced by Citadel Broadcasting Corporation. I want to thank you for tuning in here each week. I know many of you do, and I appreciate your comments. And anytime you have questions about what it is we talk about here, you can always give me a call at 767-6773. My name is Art Ortega, and today we're talking with Kathleen Cates, who is the interim CEO for something you may not have heard about before, but you did. It's called LifeROOTS. I mean, you probably heard about this, but you didn't hear about LifeROOTS, and that's what we're going to talk about. Hi, Kathleen. How are you?
Hi, Art. Thank you for having me.
The interim CEO, that means that you're in charge until...
Until they tell me not to be.
Well, you and I have talked a little bit before we started up here. I think you ought to stay in charge, whatever it is.
Well.
And the reason I said that LifeROOTS is something new to people, because it is. I mean, we found out about you because one of your folks called and said, we have this new name, and we'd kind of like to talk about it on the radio if you can. And they began to explain to me what it is LifeROOTS does. And I said, sure, let's talk about this. So I'm glad you're here. What is LifeROOTS, and what was it before?
Well, our organization began in 1958.
Oh, okay.
And it first was to provide services for children with polio and cerebral palsy. And then we opened up a dehabilitation center by 1961.
Dehabilitation?
Yeah.
That's an interesting term.
It's for adults who are severely disabled, who may not be able to hold a vocational service even with support. But would like to have interaction and stimulus and have a secure place to be during the day with their guardian is at work. And we've been providing services for years and years, but our name had been RCI. And we felt that didn't really reflect the relationship we had with our clients or their families or the services we found.
Not even a name. It's just sort of a thing.
And years ago, I asked providers when I was a consumer at the organization, what does RCI meant? And nobody actually knew, or they had different answers.
They knew what they did, but they didn't know how to put it in some kind of capsulized form.
So they started a renaming process last winter in which they researched how to, what would be the best name to reflect what we want to reflect in the community. And then we were able to launch that in June.
Well, let's talk about LifeROOTS. And as you describe their mission to me, I think the audience will get an idea of what LifeROOTS really means, because it's a pretty good name considering what you do. So what exactly does LifeROOTS do?
Well, our mission is to provide support and services for individuals with disabilities and their families. That was something we also added along with the name change to our mission. We wanted to let them know that we're a family friendly organization, and we provide support and services so that they can reach their goals and their potential, what they want to do. We let that drive what the goals are. We have 3 different divisions. One is Adult Community Services, which does job development, a placement, a literacy program, a career development, and then the dehabilitations. We have contracts, which are contracts with the federal, state, and private contracts where we'll come in and it's regular business. We'll provide a contractual service to do custodial work or landscaping or groundskeeping. But we say that 75% of our direct work labor hours, will be performed by those with disability. And we're providing them the support that they need to be able to earn an income so that they can do that.
So they learn a service, or they learn some kind of a job that they can do easily over time. And it's like a great place to spring those roots into a flowering plant.
Absolutely. Many of the people with the disabilities that we hire can't hold what you call competitive wages. They can't just go to their job. But for very few accommodations in which we're willing to make, like to have somebody there who can be seeing them with supervision or, some reduced work hours, then they'll be able to earn an income. And you and I know we both take pride in what we do.
Sure.
We like our community that when we come to work and we see people. And this affords the opportunity for everyone to do that then.
Now, the age groups here, you say children. How young are these children who can be taken care of?
Our 3rd division is children's therapy and services, and we start at birth. are the largest portion of that division is the EI program we run through state funding, and it's from birth to age 3, and we provide free evaluations and free services for any child that qualifies up to the age 3. And it is an excellent, excellent program. They realize that by providing those very intensive therapies and services for children that young, it actually enables them to be able to produce at higher levels once they become school age and reduce the financial burden on the state by the time they're school age.
LifeROOTS is the name of the organization, and it's a fairly new name, but a service that's been around for quite some time. And Kathleen Cates is our guest. She is the interim CEO of LifeROOTS. One of the more interesting aspects of this interview is the fact that you are not only managing the place, but you have had the wonderful advantage of being helped with your family, your daughter, by the same organization under a different name.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a very much a near and dear organization to me. My daughter was born in 2001, and there was her arm was paralyzed, and I wasn't sure why, and I was not getting very clear information. A lot of times, parents will instinctually wonder, is my child hitting developmental goals?
Sure.
And a lot of times, as a mom, we are dismissed. We're being hysterical mothers, or we're being overly protective. And what I found out is that LifeROOTS can give me a free evaluation, everything physically, cognitively, speech, all that. And then if they feel that the child could benefit through therapeutic services, then they can offer free services through the age of 3 for that. And it has been extremely beneficial for my daughter. I was telling you earlier, when we were working with them, and I was so grateful I finally had answers and advocacy and ways in which I can help my daughter. But then they sat down and said, well, what else can we do? And I was like, what? You're already doing so much. But they would, and they have so many different varieties of types of therapy that can help.
It's sort of like being at a fine restaurant and you're so satisfied with everything. It's like, now we're going to make you a dessert.
No, it was wonderful. Yeah. And I really attribute to the clinic in which my daughter had to go to. The injury she had is so rare, is in Houston. And we saw a lot of kids in that clinic who were in foster care or with parents that were not given knowledge about the injury. And they are only now being seen by the doctors at 8 and 9 and 10 years old. And there's just a much slower recovery at that point. And because she had those early years of very intensive therapy, I mean,
So she's doing well now, and that's the most important part.
I say you don't notice her arm because her mouth never stops.
Yeah. Well, you probably had a hard time saying to them, yeah, I don't think I want to be the CEO right now, because when they asked, you said, yeah, I'll bet you.
No, absolutely. No? Well, I was asked a couple of years ago to sit on the board of directors.
Oh, okay.
And I said, absolutely, I want to sit. I always wanted to give something back to this organization because I felt that, when you think your child is injured, they're just, you're lucky to shampoo your hair.
Sure.
That's the only thing that stays focused for you. And so, and for people to come in and say, what can we do? And these are the steps, and gave me something that I could do to help was so beneficial that when I found out there was a board position open, I did jump on it. Okay. And then eventually naturally progressed. I'm in the non-for-profit field. I do consult with non-for-profits. I have run other non-for-profits. And so it was a natural progression. I was very happy for the opportunity.
So LifeROOTS is the new name, but the organization continues on throughout the community. How do people get in touch with LifeROOTS? I mean, if a child has a problem, or if an adult who needs some aid, or a business who needs some contractual work, do they have to be recommended by anybody, like a doctor or an employment agency or anything else, or is it just direct contact?
No, absolutely not. They can just call us at 255-5501 and ask. The receptionist listens to everyone.
Yeah, must be.
You don't have to we're not going to put you in a system that you have to punch the right key. She will try to get you to the right department, the right division. We also have a website And sometimes, a lot of times, that's easier to work on. And it's www.liferootsnm, as in New Mexico.org. And it'll show you all the different services and give you contact information on so that you can get to the specific director if you don't want to tell your story to the receptionist. I understand.
Well, you must have an extremely interesting group of employees for LifeRoots, considering the myriad of problems and concerns that they probably run into every day.
We do. I will tell you that people who dedicate their life into the non-for-profit field, which I believe the non-for-profit should be run a lot like for-profit, except we put our profit back into the services and the people instead of our stakeholders. But it is not the high-paying corporate positions. So people are there really for the mission. They really see the day-to-day interaction and see the difference. And many of our employees started off as clients, and now they're employees.
Oh, that's great.
And so because they have gotten to the confidence and the training that they needed to be able to be in a competitive wage.
My next, I think most obvious to me anyway, question is, do you take volunteers who can begin to help and learn about this process?
Yes, we do. Absolutely. We are in the process of trying to identify those different types of volunteer opportunities. Obviously, they on one-on-one therapy, there are issues of background checks and services, things like that. But that we can always need to roll up our sleeves and need some help. So absolutely.
Well, there's a big boom of people who are starting to retire now, and they have expertise in so many areas, whether it's business or some social kind of interaction. And boy, you're going to have some folks knocking at your door. I hope you do.
No, I do too. We have our offices in our day hab at Manal, but we also have one at Rio Rancho. And they have an art program. They make these custom handmade cards that we sell to companies to use as their thank you cards.
Oh, really? Okay.
And that would be a fun volunteer project too, to be able to help oversee that art program.
Our conversation is with Kathleen Cates, interim CEO for LifeRoots. Its mission is to help those who need help in all kinds of areas of health. And I guess we can't really put that in one little capsule and describe it very well. So I'm glad we had a chance to talk about it at some length. Did we miss anything?
Oh, well, of course. But
Okay.
Art, I thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm just very proud of what we do, and I'm glad that you're giving us a moment to be able to tell you about it.
Well, if people want to know more about LifeRoots, all they have to do is go to the website. And the web address again is
www.liferoots, all one word, nm.org.
And if you have any questions, if something just comes to your mind and you think, I don't know who to turn to, maybe I should talk to those LifeRoots folks and see what's happening. What's the phone number to drive the receptionist crazy?
505. It's 505-255-5501. And yeah, you don't need to prove that your child needs services. You just need to have the ability to call us up, and we will be glad to perform an evaluation. And let the evaluation determine that. And then that'll help you. That'll make you feel more comfortable and confident.
And I'm sure part of that evaluation will bring about some success stories, so you know you're dealing with someone who knows what they're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
And you gave us a very bright one having to do with your daughter and your experience. And I'm sure that happens all the time. And people should want to ask those questions and get answers to their concerns. I do appreciate you being with us.
Thank you, Art.
This is Weekly Edition. Our guest has been Kathleen Cates, interim CEO with LifeRoots. So please call us and let us know what your new thoughts are, 767-6773. My name is Art Ortega. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.